All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Okay, so big green day, guys. FOMC day today. Market liked what they heard, liked what they got. And at this point, we're pushing all-time highs in the short term here. Expect dips to be bought. Worst case scenario, you get something like this that gets bought pretty quick at this point. That is unlikely going to happen. You're likely going to continue pushing. SPY, honestly, new all-time high incoming tomorrow. QQQ, we are currently consolidating. You got 4 to 5 sessions right here. We're in this just about an 8-point range. Yeah, it looks like it wants to break out in the short term here. And yeah, give me that measure move. And that brings us up to all-time highs, 637.01. IWM, we talked about how this was, poised to move up in the short term here. Or again, worst case scenario, you pull back into over here, 245-ish, and then you were likely to be bought. I don't pay too much attention to the news. The charts have your back, and that's really all you need to have a good time consistently in the market. The charts are going to have your back. If you're always going along with the news, you're going to be a step behind. Okay. But IWM gave us a nice move up today. Very nice move. Talked about RSP, guys. All right. RSP, SMH, the MAGS ETF, SPY, QQ, IWM, really every sector of the market here, all the main, components of the markets, they were ready to rip. You got semiconductor starting to go as well. The everything rally is upon us. That's going to be the titles of today's video. Okay, that'll be the title. The everything rally is upon us. It is now started. The everything rally has now started. That's what we're talking about before we started this week. And I think we also mentioned a bit last week as well. Okay, let's just go over some levels here. We'll go over the MAG 7 stocks, and I have some trade ideas at the end of the video just for you. Okay, starting off with QQ on the downside, we have 621. Okay, underneath the 90 MA, guys, we're just going to be watching the 21. You guys knew the plan. All right, you're either going to fail here, test 21, 614, 617. Okay, or you're going to end up, pivoting up off of this, and then you break out above 628.92, and you push all-time highs. If this, then that. That's really as simple as it is. Doesn't have to be any more complicated than this. All right, so downside, underneath 621, you have 614.03. On the upside, above 628.92, you have 637.01. And then we're 650 plus incoming. I would say this weekly candle looks like this thing wants to expand, and we're just going to have a nice lower wick on the weekly candle. And maybe this thing wants to push right up to all-time highs. This is a less than 1.5% move from current price. Okay, you get up to all-time high. It can easily happen into end of week. As far as SPY goes, similar looking chart, you're just closer to all-time highs. It's very, very obvious that that's where it wants to go. On the downside, you have 681.31, today's low. Underneath there, 675.56. On the upside, 689.70, current all-time high. Above there, oh, you know what I'm about to say. Okay, say it with me. 700. 700 is finally coming. Okay, in the short term. Crazy stuff, guys. Really crazy stuff. Okay, it doesn't mean markets, have to go straight up, but it makes our job real simple. We knew ever since you took out this low over here, we knew dips were likely to start getting bought. That's it. We didn't know if you were going to push straight up to all-time highs. We know our job gets a lot simpler when you can, finally get a change of character going on the weekly here, break above a previous week's high. Okay, and look what happened. Every single little dip that happened got bought within 1 to 2 sessions. And that is going to continue being the case until proven otherwise. All right. IWM, guys, 260 incoming. Do not be surprised to see 258 plus tomorrow. Don't expect that it's just going to, really go vertical here. But it's possible. I just know this guy doesn't like doing that. It likes pulling back every step of the way. Keep that in mind if trading IWM with me. This will be a focus for us over the coming months. And IWM. It's a big boy rally about to start. Look at this volume. Steadily increasing. Okay. Over here, you don't have confidence in it. Over here, boom. They're actually telling you, yes, we are consistently buying this thing on the way up to highs. You know, it's beautiful. Inside WM chart, it's beautiful. Okay. And that is the indices, guys. Coming over to the Magnificent 7 stocks. Okay. NVIDIA starting to fade in the after-hour session there. Okay. Closed near 184. It's now down to 182. I would just say leave this guy alone for the time being. Not telling you anything. You know, this is not trending. Leave it alone. Okay. That is it. It's NVIDIA. Apple. Honestly, I'm not going to say it looks bad. It looks good. On the daily here, right pressed against the 21 EMA, in between there and the 9. This is your compression. It's also a break and retest off the previous all-time high, 277.32. You know, it's clean here. Okay. The weekly, I don't like that upper wick you got going on. So, you know, I would say just leave it alone, but it is above the 21 right now. If you lose the 21, slippery slope. And next stop, it would be down at 274.40. Around there. Okay, that's Apple. Tesla. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Are they about to send Tesla? They might. They might. I ain't touching it, but they might. On the upside, 458.87. From there, you have 474.07, then 488.54. And that is it. Okay. You lose 430, things starting to slip. And then you lose 414.50. That's your key level. That's when you really know it's starting to slip. You're probably making your way back down here. Amazon, likely going to be bought over the coming sessions, in my personal opinion. All right. I talked about yesterday, guys. When you have, you know, multiple red candles in a row and you start getting that first green candle, a lot of the times, especially on this name, all right, you could just look back and see that pattern. A lot of times you're not going much lower from there, meaning if you take out that low, that's probably going to be it. All she wrote. Slightly lower, like over here, you start putting it right here. You went slightly lower over here, and then you got this pop. Or you were just going to be seeing a decent move up over the coming sessions. Okay. It's one or the other you're going to be looking for. Okay. But that's what you have right now on Amazon. It does look like this thing wants to continue pushing in the short term. So that's what I would expect. Above 232.82, you have 238.85. Microsoft, leave it alone. See how the weekly rejected the 21, the short-term moving averages right there. And then you also see how the daily 21 has been rejected, a few times here. Rejected 492.37, where you broke down from 1, 2, 3, 4 days here. Okay. Over a, looks like a 2-week period. Not a good look. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, leave it alone. Okay. You get bases, you break up from said bases. That's how you know you're not buying the fallen knife until this thing actually starts changing character. Okay. Until this thing decides to get over the 21 EMA and that daily cloud flips back to green. You're not expecting dips to be bought. You're expecting these bounces to be sold. That's what you have. Okay. That's Microsoft. Meta, guys, honestly, this could have been all she wrote, guys. We printed a doji candlestick today off of the daily 21 EMA. It's also where you broke out from. I think there's a solid shot that's all she wrote on downside over here on Meta, and we might start popping into end of week. But of course, we're going to need the indices there to be moving and grooving to the upside into end of week for that to happen. If SPY/QQ want to stall out and they want to, kind of just consolidate here, which I don't think is likely because, again, FOMC, this was the big event this week. We've had a ton of consolidation. It looks like it's finally ready for the next impulsive move. I would not be surprised to start seeing some gaps. It's looking nice. I wouldn't be surprised to see 700 in the short term here. Okay. But, if that's going to be the case, I assume Meta is going to be catching a bid from down here off the 21. All right. I was looking for a 20 to 30 point range to develop, whether that be here or slightly, higher after we go 700, 710. Wasn't sure. But yeah, look at that. You got your 20 to 30 point range going on right here. And I'm not saying it's developed yet. It's not. You just kind of have a swing low down here around the 21. I'm going to make an educated guess here and say you're probably going to hold this low. You could start going long off here, risk, right over here if you get a daily close under there. Do whatever you want. All right. But this is a move that we are paying attention for. And the next move, yeah, it's probably going to be pretty quick. It might continue consolidating into next week. Okay. They might pop it into end of week. If they do, I imagine you're going to get we're talking 700 plus this week. Maybe even 710 plus. Or they're just going to keep it in this range and then think they probably would pop it next week. Either way, we'll be paying attention over here on Meta for buyers to take you back up from here, okay? And then Google, GOOG, G-O-O-G. This is my favorite Mag 7 stock right now. I talked about in yesterday's video. If the market likes what they hear today, this is going to be a focus for this little pop for me. I like what's going on here. 4-hour daily, weekly over here all suggest the same thing. This is giving me the same exact vibes over here. We consolidated for a few weeks. Now I know this is only 3 weeks, okay, and this was like 6. I understand, but you know, if they bring this all the way back up to 330 this week, okay, which is actually a new intraday high there, 328.67, you're gonna have a weaker candle that looks like that, and I would not be surprised to see them pop them just like they did over here that next week, and maybe this thing is above 350, okay, 350, 360. I think probably incoming. But yeah, you know, this is just about as clean as it's going to get. You know, nice little bull flag action going on. Whether it's going to fail that first bounce and do something like that is irrelevant. I don't know, but it is setting up in a bullish manner. So I am going to expect that dips are going to be bought on this name, whether it goes something like this. All right. And then it has this move, or whether it just wants to, start really moving. But I just want to show you last breakout. You got time. Okay, it pushed the high, rejected. That would be like us pushing and rejecting here on Friday. All right, and then we sell down, and then we also push up next week, and we dance around it. All right, you see that? Okay, and then on the other breakout, you also had price dancing around it for about a week here. Okay, so, you know, both of the last big breakout attempts here, you danced around it for a while. You could also see the one before that. Well, what happened? You danced around it. You retested it 3 sessions later after breaking out. You want to go back to the one before that. Oh, another one where you danced around it and retested it 3 sessions later. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4, okay? You don't have to get the early entry. You can just wait and see what it wants to do. All right, I'm just pointing out that you got consolidation around the breakout level every single time on the last 4, breakouts, and that's every breakout along this rally. If you want to go take it a step further, this is the OG base from the bottom over here, okay? The original base. What happened? You danced around the breakout level and then also retested. You retested it here, retested it here, retested it here. I am just pointing out this name does not usually just go straight up vertical, and you have time to see these moves develop. I'm putting it on your radar early. You don't have to do anything about it yet. That's what I'm getting at. All right, that's GOOG. All right, now as far as tickers, we're watching here for moves into end of week. I just want to highlight some of these guys, and look at that, guys. It's going to be another short video today. Real simple stuff, guys. We've been preparing for this. Real simple stuff. We're finally moving to highs. $700 a SPY coming. All right, top watch for tomorrow. Reddit. Okay, Reddit, the 4-hour over here, it doesn't really get cleaner than this. I am assuming this thing's either going to gap up or it opens in this range tomorrow, hopefully around 236, okay, and then takes out today's high, and that brings us up to 246.43, okay? I think this thing is going 250 plus this week. I think this weekly candle is going to expand. And yeah, I also think the monthly candle is going to get wider, considering this would now, if it's not going to get, let's look at it this way. Right now, it's 13%. None of these other candles are 13%. I think there's, this is the smallest one. It's 19%. So that's this month. Okay, this month. That's this thing at least going up to 253. If it's going to be the smallest monthly candle it's ever printed. Okay, do you really think they're going to slam this and now bring it down all the way to $200, or do you think it's more likely they're just going to bring it up another 10, 20 points this month? I think it's much more likely they're about to bring it up. All right, so if you're catching my drift, then you know that you could play a month out here and look for at least 10 points higher. Now, if you're also catching my drift, okay, you can look for that move to happen over the next 1 to 2 sessions. You could be in and out. Worst case scenario, it's going to take until the end of the month. Now, that being said, I don't think that's going to be the case regardless. You're trying to be in and out here. So that's Reddit. I think you're going to get this push into 246 to 253 tomorrow. And yeah, that's top watch. Now, second of all, we're going to try and milk this bad boy over here, J&J, over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Okay. Walmart, it's been nice to us the last few sessions here. Okay. Expect this dip to be bought, but J&J is looking like an absolute monster. LLY recently was the monster, and it just kept going once it broke out the new highs. It didn't really pull back. Okay. J&J, as LLY retests previous all-time highs, J&J is ready to freaking explode. Okay, so over the next few sessions here, we're looking for this breakout. I'm not going to tell you how big this breakout's going to be because I don't know. Look at this thing, likes to drag itself up. It likes to pull back every other day, pretty much every day. So just realize one breakout, break and retest. You pulled back the few sessions around it, and then you kept going. Over here, this was just a breakout. Over here, this was a break and retest. Okay, you danced around it. I am not sure how this one's going to go. Trade it how you see fit. But what I definitely will point out is you had, well, you know, even if you want to, you can include this breakout over here as well. Look at that. It just kept going to the next area. Right now, you're in price discovery mode. You had this breakout over here. It was a success. Here it was success. Here it's success. Here's success. Okay, that's 3 for 3 along this move since the bottom over here. And yeah, you know, this looks like it wants to freaking explode. Okay, this monthly candle looks like this can all just turn into a nice lower wick. All right, the weekly over here looks like this is ready to, oh, it's ready to go. Okay, so over the coming weeks, we're going to try and milk this bad boy, and we're going to see dips as buying opportunities, and you could trade it with us. Okay. Either way, I hope you guys are having a great time in this market. We've called out a lot of nice ass moves over the past few weeks here, and yeah, I just
that was easy.
Hit that for us. Okay, it's been nice. Been a killer few weeks. All right, but that's J&J. Honestly, you know, Reddit, I've been preparing for that. Okay, I've been waiting for this move, and it's getting real tight. This is like 4 days of range here. 4 hour doesn't really get any cleaner than this. This thing has like a little flat top going on, and honestly, you can also look at it this way. A little break and retest action over here, okay? So, you know, honestly, this is exactly what you want to see before another impulsive move up. That's why I say either a gap up, or I think it opens here, takes out this high, and then goes a little like bada bing, bada boom. We get 15, 20 point move. All right, so that's Reddit. But J&J, I'm telling you, whoo, look at it. Look at this thing. This is sexy, okay? Dell in the short term, break above 142.34. We have 147.66. All right, that's probably going to bring sellers back into the mix. Just keep that in mind. It does look like this thing can continue pushing the short term. Not going to call it my favorite, but it is one I am watching for that move because this thing, yeah, sometimes with these breakouts, it likes to move. Okay, so it's one I'm going to be paying attention for that. But just to be clear, top watch tomorrow. And, you know, as far as I know right now into end of week, J&J and Reddit, okay? These are the ones I'm expecting further upside no matter what the market's going to be doing. All right, and moving on, we have CELH, guys. Okay, so CELH, we're looking for this thing to pop over 1554 by end of week. If it does, I think it's going to go something like this, and we start a 1 to 2 week rally, and we could get 18 to 20 bucks going pretty quick next week. Okay, that's CELH. Might consolidate for a few sessions around there, might just pop up, you know, and then maybe we get a gap up and you pull back. Okay, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go, but I am looking for the breakout this week, and if it happens, I'm in, and let's have a good time. Okay. Cypher, you know, out of data center stocks right now, I'm going to say CELH is looking a lot better. I'm disappointed in how Cypher decided to close the day here. You know, name of the game, guys, is, you know, go with the flow with the indices there. Focus on the ones with strength. Focus on the ones that are moving the best with the indices. We know SPY and QQ are set to rip in the short term. IWM should continue going as well. This thing is not moving well with them. So I'm just going to, you know, make a mental note of that. And you guys should also make a mental note of that. This is not what you need to focus on in the short term. I'm still thinking this gets our move, but it's going to be a miracle if it just decides to pop and rip faces, you know, these next 1 to 2 sessions. It is above the 21 EMA. Okay. You know, I still think, you know, structure's bullish over here on the daily time frame. It's holding above the 21 EMA. All right. Weekly really doesn't look all too bad. I do think this weekly candlestick will expand. It's, you know, a little small guy at the current point, you know, current point in time. We should be looking for a 20 to 30% weekly candle there, weekly range. Right now, we don't have that. So I do think it expands one direction or the other, whether that's going to fade down here, you know, 16, 17 bucks by Friday, or if it's going to pump, which if it's going to pump, then we're talking like 22 bucks. Okay. So it's in the perfect spot for buyers to really just step in here and shove it right back up to highs, break 21.16, push 22.23 by end of week. It's in the perfect spot, but it's either going to fail here all right, or it's not, and we're going to see what happens, okay? But out of data center stocks right now, I'm telling you, CLSK and Wolf. I'm not too confident to trade this guy Wolf over here, but I am not one to turn a blind eye to an absolute beauty of a chart. This looks phenomenal, honestly, and it looks like this thing wants to continue. That being said, hope Cypher ends up, having the big bounce back, and CLSK over here, we are definitely watching for this thing to get moving and grooving here in the short term, okay? So there's those. MU, now at new all-time highs, has earnings next Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, next Wednesday after the bell. So that's a little monkey wrench in the mix, but expect dips to be bought over here on MU, and the same over here for TSM. Now, TSM is the one that I pounded the table on over here in this base. I actually cut my position on this day right here and then did not get back in, unfortunately, but it's all the way back up to highs now. It's one I wanted to size into down here. It's just, it got away from me. I didn't like the action it was having. That being said, there's been a lot of things moving anyway, and you don't have to catch them all. You really don't. It's been a nice few weeks, and yeah, I think we're probably going to have a nice bullish next 1 to 3 weeks. Really nice moves across the board. So don't feel like you have to have FOMO by any means. Really don't. There are a lot of things moving right now. And just because you miss one doesn't mean you have to chase another or chase that. You really don't. You could wait for these things to set up for you. Just like we had a few of these setting up for us down there. And now they're just getting these moves. But now on this move, other names are set up to get their next moves. Okay. So I'll constantly on this channel let you guys know about them. Just stay tuned until the end of the videos. That's when I'm going to be covering these trade ideas on the individual tickers. TSM, though, expect the dips continue getting bought. This thing's probably going to keep ripping for the next few weeks. Okay, expect those dips to be bought. This was your last breakout. Dip was bought that next week. Next week after that it also was, and then you ripped. Over here, next breakout after that, you barely dipped, but they did keep getting bought week after week. ASTS, guys, I think this is probably on its way to 90 plus in the short term. I think it might honestly happen this week. Would not be surprised to see this have, a move up to 85 plus tomorrow. But yeah, this thing just started moving. It's breaking up from consolidation. 4 hours really what was standing out to me. Doesn't get much better than this, That's why I was highlighting Reddit. Really doesn't. The last time we saw something like this on this name is over here, and we'll just mark this out. So it was this day right here. You actually got the breakout, and it looks pretty similar on the 4 hour there. But now let's take it to the daily. What do you have? You have a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day range. On that 5th day broke out. Right now we have 4 days. Maybe tomorrow it's the day that it breaks out. What do you get off the opening price? It was an 8% move. Okay, imagine we get an 8% move tomorrow. It's going to be a face ripper rally. Okay, this could be nice. Could be nice. All right, so that is Reddit. But coming back over here, ASTS, it did just break out. 4 hour was really clean. I'm guessing this thing is going to be continuing in the short term. Expect dips to be bought over here on this name until proven otherwise. This monthly is really what stands out to me, and I think this might be getting ready for a massive move up to, like, we're talking 150 plus over the next 1 to 2 months. I could be wrong, but this, when it was down here around 65, the monthly was still standing out to me, and now it's rocketed. Okay, I think I looked at things this day right here, and they've just kept going, and now we've consolidated. We're starting to break up. Like, this looks like this wants to, I don't know. We have 20. We only used 1/3 of the month so far, not even. And it's done this. I think they're going to take it up to all-time highs. That's ASTS. GOOG already talked about it. You got the bull flag. It looks like, the best setup Mag 7 stock right now for short-term momentum to the upside. ASML, guys, getting real tight. Test the 90 EMA today. Would not be surprised to see this pop above 141.72 by end of week. Looking for this weekly candle to expand. I really like the look of this, okay? That's ASML. IBM. I just want to point out, break and retest going on here. This looks like it's getting ready for a larger move. We got some action like this going on over here. I'm going to be watching it. It's not ready yet. I'm just letting you guys know about it early over here. I am paying attention to it. QCOM. I'm also not going to tell someone just to blindly enter right here, okay? But I do want to point out monthly and weekly, higher time frame stuff here. This thing's getting ready for a larger push, and I think it's going to start this larger push to all-time highs, 230.63, over the next few months. Okay? I don't think it goes straight up there, but it is something that, you know, I'm now taking note of. It's pushing, you know, through where we have supply. This is a big old inverse head and shoulders pattern as well. You got left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It looks good. Okay? It does look good. That's QCOM. Coming over here to hood, guys. I'm looking for this weekly candle to expand in the upward direction by end of week. Looks like it wants to do it. Consolidating around the short-term moving average over here. Let's see if we get it. We do get a pop of 139.75. I think we got 145 plus pretty quick here on this name. That's hood. APP. I really want this thing to continue falling. Let me test the 9 EMA, and you know we could start scaling in there, and then hopefully it continues falling to the 21. Either way, it would be a godsend if this thing could give you a pullback to get in on. This thing is ready for all-time highs, and it's fully possible that this kind of just he's pulling back tomorrow, puts in, you know, a hammer candlestick or lower wick, and then continues pushing. And by end of week, you have a big day over here. But all-time highs are imminent on this name, in my opinion. APP. RKT, hit it with the break and retest off 1844. All right, pull back to the 21 EMA. Not looking bad. You know, I pointed out over here in this base, that's why we have the gray levels and the blue one right here. On the upside, you have 1967 and then 2062. Okay, that was the original plan there. Now these are just acting as resistances. And then above 26.2, you have 2138 and then 2256. I think this is, yeah, this might do some cool things this month of December. You have 20 days left for this action to take place. And yeah, I don't think it's going to move massively this week, but I do think if we could get this thing going next week, yeah, next 1 to 2 weeks, it would be back up at these highs. RKT. SNDK. I really like what's going on here on the daily. All right. This is a chip. I believe it's a chip name if I'm thinking correctly here. But this was a leader along the most recent rally here. Okay. It's not in the same playing field, okay? It is a smaller guy. It's not like a TSM or any of these other names, okay? Just know that this thing was moving very nice for a long time here, and it looks like it is just about ready to start waking up again. I'm going to keep it on my radar. Break above 237.77 into end of week here, and we're probably going to see this, you know, what is a red weekly candlestick right here. It's probably going to turn into a green one. And in the past, you know, you've seen once that's happened, you know, this at one point was a red candlestick. This was a red candlestick. This was a red candlestick when you were in that wick. And right now we're just in that wick. So if they do it, you know, I'm just pointing out there was a 10% move over where that opening price was. There was a 13% move over that one. There was an 8% move over that one. Okay, that's like us taking this price right here and us getting a minimum of 8% move. That's a 20-point move into the end of the week there. We'll see if we get it. It looks, the smaller time frame in this case, it looks ready to go. The daily is what's drawing me in, and the weekly, I figured this thing was, I pointed out in the weekly update, this thing 2 times off the 9 EMA here on the weekly, you print that lower wick. So all you got to do is break above the base, which in this case, 237.77. Okay, and then yeah, you're going. Okay, but that's your double bottom neckline. This looks pretty beautiful if you ask me. All right, but just realize every other day this is another one that likes to pull back, so keep that in mind if trading it with me. Okay, and the last one I'm going to point out, Urban URBN. I'm not telling anyone, we're not doing anything with this right now. Nada. Okay, we are waiting to see if we get the weekly close above 80.71. If so, that is how we know we are avoiding the false breakout. We don't need to trade the frustrating action. If we get the weekly close above, we look for the first mean reversion. We look for the first daily 9 EMA test, and we take an entry off that. You have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4. These are the last few breakouts along this, you know, whole rally, multi-year rally since 2022. Look at that. It's picture perfect. Absolutely beautiful. We're watching for it. I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time in case we get the weekly close above, and then we'll be watching it next week, and I'll also address in the weekly update. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I really do. Please, if you do, our likes, we have not been getting a lot of likes as much as we were for a little bit there. I know there's a lot of returning viewers. I know there's a crap ton of value packed into these videos on a consistent basis here. It is really all you need to, this is all the market research you really have to do is just tune into these videos, and I will help you out, and I'll give you things to trade, and I'll constantly let you know what's happening in the market, where the money is moving, and how you can profit off of it. Okay, I just ask that we leave likes on the videos. I greatly would appreciate it. All right, I appreciate you guys. If you want to come trade with me, that link is going to be down below. I'm live streaming every single day, and you can come trade live with me. All right, and yeah, with that being said, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.